Hi, hey, how are we? How are we, everybody? So it's Katie back at Lunar Ray Tarot and Wellness. I am so excited to see you guys today. We are at the middle of the week. We are at Wednesday. So we are on that happy hump day moment, okay? So we are on Wednesday. Well, since it is hump day, let's talk about passion. Okay, we're gonna be talking about Passionflower today, okay? So, what do you guys think that is? Have you ever heard about it? Have you ever heard of Passionflower tea? Or maybe you've been on Etsy and see like some of those awesome folks that have that Passionflower smoke blend. I've seen it, but I've not tried it. If any of y'all have, let me know, because that's interesting. But that is what we're going to talk about today. And I got this new cool book. Let me show you guys something. Look what I got. Look what I got. So I actually had this for a while now, but since I've been moving like a crap ton, I forgot about it. So being that I'm in Oklahoma, I found out that I can actually forage this plant. So I'm excited about that. But we'll go into that in a minute, what regions of Oklahoma that you can find it. And it's actually forageable right now between summer and fall, which we haven't quite hit winter in Oklahoma, and it's been oddly warm. I think we all can agree with that. But we will get into that into all of that stuff here in just a second, okay? So as I always do, it doesn't matter if I'm educating or if I'm doing tarot or divination. We always want to cleanse and clear our space of any negative energy. So I've got my traditional burning Palo Santo. And I do have a window open today here in Oklahoma. It's actually really temperate outside. It's very nice for November, but Spirit guides, ancestors, Christ and divine, thank you for this time that I'm sharing with whoever is on the other side of my window. I appreciate any kind of clear guidance and messages that I will be sharing with them today. I'm wearing my really pretty, like, Strawberry Beatles shirt. I love the Beatles, y'all. I love old music, though. I feel like my soul was meant to be in, like, the 60s. That's why I love the wolf cut. If anybody is a professional hairdresser, please reach out. I really need a touch-up. I need a trim badly. But Spirit guides, ancestors, divine Christ, thank you for leading us together today to join and have some conversation about Passionflower. I do want to iterate before we go into this that there is a lot of religious, symbolic messages that come through whenever I was channeling this morning, okay? So if that's not your vibe, it's cool, but I want to warn you ahead of time. So if you don't want to be here for the religious aspect, you can go ahead and either I could try to timestamp it for you, or just go ahead and scroll forward, okay? Okay, so Passionflower. What is it? Katie said that it has to do with passion and hump day. Well, I'm a nurse, so I have dirty humor. But going to it, let's see what it says, okay? So Passionflower is a species of twining vine that has a large violet and white flower with a yellowish and orange egg-shaped fruit. At the bottom, that's about the size of a chicken egg, okay? Those are called, like the fruits, they're about, probably about this long, okay, that big, but those are called maypops, and they have black seeds inside with a orangey, yellowy, colory, fleshy fruit that is supposed to be sweet and enjoyable. Now, this is what Passionflower, the actual flower, looks like, okay? And I'm trying to make it clear enough for you guys. But this is what the plant might look like out in the wilderness. Now this is our map of Oklahoma, okay? So everything in the dark red is where you can currently find this plant. And like I had stated, this is a summer and fall forward plant, okay? So that's when we can harvest this here in Oklahoma. So historically, the passion flower has been found in the southern and the eastern U.S. and is one of the 450 species of passion flora in the temperate U.S. Now, this is a perennial vine, so those of you who are my my herbal people, my plant people, you guys will know what that means. But needless to say, this is like one of those things that comes like one time a year in the fall time, and it'll put out these really pretty, like really big flowers, and they're gorgeous. Now, going back even further than just, geographically where it was, historically in the 1600s, okay, it was said that Spanish Jesuit missionaries gave the plants their name after encountering several species of these in South America. It was claimed that whenever they saw these for the first time down there in South America on their mission trip journey, that symbolically to them, it was representative of Jesus Christ's crucifixion. Now, I know I told you guys that this would be kind of religious heavy at the beginning, so I apologize for that in advance. I just have to give you guys the messages that I get, as they're given to me, okay? So, going back to the symbology back in the missionary days with these Spanish Jesuit missionaries, there is also documented history of early European explorers that came to the America that would describe these flowers as also having religious symbolism. So I think it's cool that not only the Spanish missionaries, but we also had some European explorers that found the same symbology, okay? So breaking down the flower and what it means. So religiously stating, okay, they said that the flower crown symbolized the passion of Christ and the period of suffering following the Last Supper and the crucifixion. The three styles atop the stigma represent the three nails that Jesus Christ was attached to the cross with. The 5 anthers atop the stigma amplified the hammers used to drive the nails, attaching Christ to the cross. And the fringe under the floral crown was said to symbolize the crown of thorns. Now, there are 10 white petals. Let me find my plant book again so I can show you, because I love to represent things. So you guys see these white petals around? So there's 10 of them. And in the Bible, during the crucifixion of Jesus, there were 10 apostles there. The only 2 that were not there were Judas and Peter. And they were both the ones that betrayed Jesus. So it just seems to go hand in hand how the passion flower was seen by 2 different exploring groups that were not, attached by any means. They didn't have a mediator. They didn't have a guide. They didn't have somebody on an 800 number. Hey, we need to book a travel agent. No. 2 different parts of the world, both seeing the symbolizer of Jesus Christ and the passion that he had for us. Okay? So not to be all preachy, but kind of going into the medicinal uses of the plant. A lot of times we think of source, religion, calling back our power, finding our energetic self. All of these things can bring us our own inner synergy, our own inner peace, okay? And the medicinal uses of the passion flower specifically, okay, is said to have a soothing effect across the nervous system. So we want to find peace, we want to find harmony, we want to find synergy. And if we relate historically what these adventurers named this plant to be said, if we correlate it, I don't know, maybe I'm just a conspiracy theorist, but that's a big coincidence, y'all. I don't really believe in coincidences. Just saying. But medicinally, what affects the nervous system to cause this soothing effect? So what is said to cause the soothing effect is actually some antioxidants that inhibit some enzymes in the brain that affect the GABA receptors, okay? So if you are not medical, the GABA receptors in the brain are what are going to affect your anxiety and your sleep pattern. Okay, so needless to say, the passionflower is said to decrease those levels of your anxiety and cause this more like sedative, relaxed state. Okay, so if you are familiar with mental health, which if there's a part or a hashtag that has to do with mental health, you may be drawn to this video. But as a person with bipolar disorder that has had to learn to medicate without chemical restraints, because I no longer want to have to take medications from a physician, but passionflower can actually have some of the similar effects to benzodiazepines. Okay, so what's a benzo? Okay, so you don't have to be medical to know what a benzo is. If you know what Xanax is, if you've ever, I don't even want to say abused, but if you've ever used Xanax for recreational purposes, that's a benzodiazepine. You have that relaxing effect. Or another one is Valium, okay, diazepam, any of the PAMs, alprazolam is Xanax, so diazepam is Valium. Okay, so that sedative, relaxed effect. Okay, so that being said, can bring us to the risks involved with messing with this plant. Okay, so being that benzodiazepines can cause that drowsiness, can cause that sedative effect, you know, that the other risks may be if you are on if you're on blood pressure medication, okay, for hypertension, it could be therapeutic, but if you're on several, or if you're on a diuretic with your blood pressure medication, remember, as always, I always stress to talk to your medical professional, because you don't want your blood pressure to drop too low. Or if you are already on a medication to maybe help your sleep, like trazodone, Seroquel, things like that, also be cautious taking this because of the sedative effects. You don't want to lower your respirations, because benzos can decrease respirations, Valium can decrease respirations. You don't want to accidentally harm yourself with thinking you're doing good without talking to the right person. Now, if you have no medications, you have no comorbidities, then you should be okay, but remember to do your research, and, you know, don't ever make suggestions without knowing what you're doing first, okay? So moving on, how can you take this to be therapeutic? So just as I always describe, some of the most common ways is going to be your tincture, where you can distill it in the hydroalcoholic solution to draw from your fruits or your leaves, okay? And if you do so, you can mix it with other herbs like the hops flower or lemon balm. Those also have some really good anti-anxiety properties as well, the relaxing effect, okay? And you could take 1 to 2 milliliters of that 1 to 3 times daily, okay? So, you know, if you're interested in trying to make tinctures, or if you know somebody that makes tinctures, or something like that, that could be a good alternative, especially if you don't want to have to take pills or chew on a leaf or drink a tea. So next is, of course, your tea, okay, or an infusion. So an infusion is a basic way of just saying a tea, okay, and you can steep 1 to 2 teaspoons of your plant in 2 cups of water for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then you're going to strain it and take it 3 times daily and before bed for its calming and anti-anxiety properties, okay? And then if you wanted a full complexity tea in my, let me see, hold on, just one. Unfortunately, I could not find that book at the moment, but there was a recipe in there for, it was, of course, your passion flower, okay, your chamomile, lavender, rose hips, and then lemon verbena. But you'll take 1 tablespoon of those dried herbs, okay, and then you would steep that in your boiling water for about 5 minutes, and then you would just sweeten it to your flavor and enjoy, and that would be like a really complex, anti-anxiety, anti-depressive, like mood-lifting kind of tea. Okay, and if you wanted to be adventurous, you can always add things that bring your vibrations up, like orange peels, lemon peels, things that are high in vitamin C, rose petals. I know it said rose hips; those are high in vitamin C as well. But rose petals. But you just gotta be adventurous, man. Plant medicine is all about creativity. A couple more things I forgot to touch on about the medicinal uses of your passion flower. So, because of the calming effects on your nervous system, it can also be therapeutic if you have neuropathy or nerve pain, and any kind of neuralgia. So, neuralgia in the medical community means nerve pain. Okay, so it could be possibly therapeutic in cases of shingles. I don't know that for sure. Like I said, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm just assuming shingles, as a nurse, I have been told by my patients, is extremely painful because of the connection of nerves that the shingles virus will follow, okay? Because if you've ever seen someone with shingles, 9 times out of 10, you're going to see it in a cluster because your nerves form in a cluster and have web-like fingers that go off of it. So, but that's one thought. And then another thing that I had wrote down is that it can relieve tachycardia. So going along with the other herbs like the chamomile and the lavender and things like that, the reason why I think it can lower your tachycardia is if you do have high anxiety or panic disorders, all of these herbs are going to help calm your nervous system. Okay. Now, just to clarify, I want to make sure I didn't miss anything on the risky part. Okay. So we touched on the dizziness and some of the drowsiness because of the effects. But another one is that it's not recommended to take passion flower if you are on blood thinners. So if you are on Coumadin or warfarin, make sure specifically that you talk to your medical professional, because this will cause your blood thinning reaction of your medication to increase. So your blood will be a little bit thinner, okay? And then the last thing that I wanted to touch on is it's not really recommended to use this if you are expecting, because it can cause uterus stimulation. My apologies. I had my little sister stop by, so I went and spoke with her for a minute, but going back to what I had just said, so it can cause some uterus stimulation. So unless you are actually wanting to try to induce labor, okay, which you could pair the passion flower with like raspberry leaves and a couple of other herbs like red clover. But these are all things that can cause the uterus stimulation to induce labor naturally, okay? other than that, I think medicinally that's kind of all that I had to touch on today. I'm so grateful that you guys came and shared this time with me today. It's such a blessing to have all of you here just watching me and listening to these words of wisdom. So every day as we grow and we learn together, I just hope that I can bring some sort of positivity to your day and maybe even just put a smile on your face, okay? But I'm wishing you all so much love and light. I love you guys. Peace out, and I'll see you next time.